Hi, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my channel. Today's another monthly wrap up where I talk about my tarot practice, books I've read, or anything I want to share with you in my mundane life. And that's going to be the majority of today's video, is pretty much the mundane parts of my life. I do have a deck and an oracle pairing that I'll show at the end of the video, but the beginning of this video is going to be more chit chat than I usually do. Usually I chit chat a little bit and then start showing some decks. But May was it was different. I didn't do many readings for myself because I felt like the tarot was making its presence well known in my life day to day. I was seeing that devil moment or experiencing it in that Lover's card, in like a Four of Wands type energy. It was just blatantly clear what cards were affecting me on what days without me ever pulling out a deck to pull those cards. And it was, I don't want to say I never pay attention to that, but it was just a different kind of experience. So I'm going to kind of talk about that. I'm going to try to put up pictures and things so you're not looking at my hands flopping around, and kind of tell the story with some cards here. So it's a little bit different of a monthly wrap up for me. This isn't the norm, basically. So please forgive my voice. I am trying to film a lot of videos before we go away, and yeah, it's putting a strain on it. So I sound like I'm getting sick or something, but I'm not. The month started out with the Lover's card. Oops, 10 of Cups and the Lover's card energy as my husband and I celebrated our 29th wedding anniversary. We've been together forever. We didn't really do anything that day. We just went out to dinner, and that pretty much summed up anniversary activities. But right after that, he started vacation on our anniversary. So right after that, I decided to clean out and do a deep clean and a purging of the closet in our bedroom. And you have to realize we live in a very old house, and it's built in the 1930s. Our closets are 1930s closets. So anybody here in the States who knows older homes and how tiny the closets are, so they're very small. Mine happens to be one of the bigger ones in the house. It's like a closet and a half, and that's only because it's attic access in that closet. But anyway, so he helped me empty the entire closet, and then I spent the next 6 hours going through every item, every bit of clothing, every bit of everything. And that's kind of when I stepped into that devil energy, because I started thinking about and looking at the cycles of all these purchases and all these things in this closet, and thinking about where I needed to bring forward temperance. And it's interesting that those two energies is what I was feeling in that moment, because I'm in the year of temperance, and I have noticed over at least the past 3 months, I am craving balance and looking for ways to balance and looking for things that are out of balance in my life. And I don't think I've talked much about my temperance card the past 2 months that I've done wrap-ups. I know I talked about it a lot more at the beginning of the year, but it's really been hitting hard lately, showing me things that are out of balance and showing me, where changes need to be made, especially when I'm standing face to face with this devil energy. But then that brings us into this Four of Pentacles, because I was thinking about all the things. And, growing up, we were taught this is for good, this can be used anytime, but this is for good. And it's just the values or whatever that my mother had instilled in her that she then tried to instill in me. Oh no, we're gonna save this for good. She still does that to this day. Oh no, I can't use that purse. That's for good. And I'm like, you're in the that was good era of your life. She's in her 70s. It's like it's time to start using all the things. But my grandmother was born, her mother was born in the Great Depression. She grew up through her like age 10 in the middle of the Great Depression. And so they were taught, you used what you had, you saved certain things for good, for company, for whatever reason. And you didn't use that until later. And they used everything they had. They didn't waste anything, and they didn't, there wasn't the money to overbuy and overspend. So you had to use everything that you had, but there were certain things that were saved for good. And that's what my mother learned, and then that's what was passed down to me. And as I'm cleaning out this closet and I'm looking at the devil and I'm figuring out temperance, and I'm thinking about that Four of Pentacles energy, that miserly holding on to everything so tightly. I was thinking about all the things in there that were being saved for good. And, when you're cleaning out your closet, you're trying everything on and you're figuring out what fits, what doesn't fit. There was so much that didn't fit anymore because a lot of those things were pre-perimenopause, and I'm in full-blown menopause now, and things change and have changed in my body. And I filled an entire garbage bag. And I'm not talking the little kitchen garbage bags. I'm talking the ones that you use for outdoor work. I filled an entire garbage bag full of things from this closet in order to make room, and of things that didn't fit or I didn't have interest in anymore, but was still like new. And oh my God, it was a whole thing. And I didn't come to my cards for any of that. I just looked at these three energies and just journaled on that. Didn't do a different type of reading on it. I just journaled about these three energies and why I was in them, and the balance that needed to be struck between the devil and the Four of Pentacles. And then I made a post on Instagram about it, and I took it down as quickly as I put it up because I was very open and I was very raw and very authentic in that post. And I had such an Eight of Swords moment about that post. Well, I guess like the 8 and the 9 combined. I got immediate anxiety about being judged and worried about other people's thoughts and what they were going to think of me about making that post, because like I said, it was so raw in that post. And like I took it down. I think it was up an hour, maybe an hour. And then that frustrated me because I didn't have that inner strength. It was like coming face to face, like with the strength card, and I didn't have it. I let the energy of the Eight of Swords entrap me in these thoughts, and that were not warranted whatsoever. And so we're still at the beginning of the month, and I've already faced like the Lover and the Ten of Cups, the Devil, Temperance, the Four of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords and Strength. And the way the energy of these cards were so in my face, so present, it's nothing like I've ever really experienced. And maybe because I was just more sensitive and more aware to it for some reason in the month of May than any other month. Maybe because I'm so used to just going to my cards and pulling out and doing readings that I don't really notice the cards showing up like this for me every single day. And then right after this whole scenario, comes, I'm going to say like the Four of Wands, because that represents home to me. And our son finished his second year of college, and we had to go move him out and bring him home for the summer. So a couple days after that was Mother's Day. And then that brings us into this Empress energy, that mothering energy, that nurturing energy. And so I got spoiled on Mother's Day. I got some new flowers, and I was surprised with a set of wireless headphones, because I'm always complaining about watching videos, like while my husband's playing video games and I can't hear him. So he got me a set of wireless headphones, which was really cool. But yeah, then there was a celebration of Mother's Day, but I was still thinking about this Eight of Swords and strength, and that taking down that post and not having the courage to leave that up. And just like clockwork, I was scrolling through my news feed on Instagram, and Chris Ann had made a post about social media and everything being safe and everything being the same. And it was just like the same kind of regurgitated things posted on a regular basis. And she was looking for rawness and realness, and not to say that anything that she was seeing wasn't necessarily real, but she was wanting more of the raw out there. And it just struck me in that synchronicity manner of, because that's what I was feeling when I originally made that post that I removed. And then I started thinking about the Seven of Swords. I try to be very real on any of my social media platforms. I don't ever try to pretend to be something that I'm not. But it really made me start thinking about the Seven of Swords. And am I wearing a mask? Am I really putting myself out there? Am I, maybe pretending to be, or trying to get away, not trying to get away with something, because I don't try to get away with anything, but maybe, not being authentic as I can be on here. But I honestly feel that I am. So then I was in that whole Seven of Swords moment after I read that whole post from Chris Ann and everything. But it really it was a validation for me in how I was feeling in that Eight of Swords and inner strength moment. So I really appreciated seeing that, because it's exactly what I needed. And when I say that there was all kinds of synchronicities showing up for me in the month of May, it was very, very clear that everything I was feeling, things that I was journaling about, was right on the money. And these cards that I felt were very present in my life through the first few weeks of May, there was just validation behind every single one of those. So then somewhere in mid-month, we decided to finally get out there and get the flower beds and get the yard and the bushes and everything ready for spring, summer kind of thing. They needed a deep clean to them, which I'll insert videos. But it was nice because I was able to really get to enjoy the bearded irises that were in full bloom and my rhododendron bush. That rhododendron bush we were taller than it, let's put it that way, when we moved in to this house in 2001. So it overpowers us now. It is so tall. To trim the top, you would need like a step stool or something in order to reach everything up there. And I can remember the neighbors saying to me when we first moved in, "Oh, you are going to move that somewhere. That rhododendron bush looks ridiculous in the middle of your backyard." And I just thought, oh yeah, I'm planning on moving it. I never did move it. I didn't want to move it. I didn't want to take the chance of killing it off, or not, it not coming or springing back to life in the way that I would want it to. So I've left it there, and I don't care what people think. And it's gigantic now, and I love it because I can see it right from my kitchen window. And when I'm doing dishes or I'm making dinner or whatever, I can look right out at that large empress of a bush, and enjoy it. So it's staying where it is, whether other people like it or not. And then as the month ended, I came into a Three of Pentacles and Six of Cups energy. My brother had reached out to me somewhere in the month of April, wanting to know if I wanted to do like a podcast with him. And I said, well, what did you want it to be about? And he just wanted it to be these like conversations that we have all the time about our spiritual journeys or spiritual topics or different things that we're doing in our practice or something like that, that we talk with one another all the time. And I said, sure, let's give it a go. So we started putting together ideas and how we're going to do it. And so we're going to do a podcast. And it's going to be here on YouTube. I'm not real fond about being in front of the camera. And he told me I need to get over it. But it is going to be here on YouTube. I think we're planning on launching it somewhere in August. And it's just going to be different things, how we feel about different topics. I think our first one is going to be signs and synchronicities. And we're going to talk about that. And yeah, just different spiritual things or things that we use. Or it's just going to be, I don't know, whatever we want, I guess, basically. So I'll post more about that in my community tab once I know an official launch date. So this is basically my month. This is my month in the picture of cards here. And I love this. I love how this all has progressed through the month and sitting and, like I said, looking at these cards and stepping into that energy, and they were fully present in front of me. I didn't even have to pull out the cards to do a reading on anything. I just made myself open up to be more aware of what is happening around me. So let's get into actual cards and the little bit of the practice that I did do. So as always, I pulled my light and shadow readings from the Wisdom of the Divine Shadow, and every month I have to look at the name of these decks because I never remember. Wisdom of the Shadow, and this is Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. Yes, Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. I always get those mixed up. So this is the Divine Feminine. This is the Shadow. And I do know that they have these on, I think the Kickstarter is still going on in the pocket size editions. I have, of course, the regular size. But man, were these cards spot on. I didn't pull these until probably the second week of the month. And for the fact that the nature card came out, and like I said, we spent about 5 hours that one day outside doing yard work, trimming bushes, cleaning up the flower beds and things. So for this nature card to come out, and it talks about being one with nature, all the elements, all the creatures, the web of life, how we are interconnected with everything and dependent upon the earth. And there's a reason we feel alive, nourished, and balanced among the earth, trees, soil, and animals. And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. Because this cleaning out the flowers, working in nature, doing all of that, happened right after that cleaning out the closet, that devil temperance energy. So this kind of rebalanced me into that temperance. So temperance was prominent in many different ways throughout this month. So I really like this. And then when I first pulled shame, I thought, I'm not feeling shame around anything. What am I feeling shame on? And I was like, oh my God, yes, you are. You felt shameful about that post. I took that post down from Instagram. I was in that devil moment and feeling shame about all the things that were in my closet that I was getting rid of. And I was like, holy crap, I cannot believe. And I know this is a repeat, but these have hit right on every single month. So I did a lot of journaling about these two cards, how it felt to be out in nature, how I felt grounded, rebalanced, about shame, the post, the closet, the everything. And I actually used my Outgrow Yourself Oracle Tarot to do the readings surrounding these two cards and dive further into that. And Temperance is a card that came out for the reading I did around the energy of shame. And I thought that was very, very in sync, in alignment with what was happening and what was going on in the month of May. So the decks I used for clients in the month of May were the Alice in Wonderland Tarot and the Tarot in Wonderland. This is one of my favorite pairings. This is not planned. I didn't plan on using this Alice energy, but it was just so, it was just something that was calling to me, I guess, for the month of May to use with clients. And I really try to follow and trust my gut with that. So how I did the readings with these two decks is this was the energy that was available that they were could step into for the week or pay attention to during the week. This is our obstacle, of course. And then the Alice Oracle in the middle was either going to bridge those two energies together, so maybe they wouldn't be so difficult to work with, or it was going to be a divide. It could cause greater obstacles in some way. And I really did enjoy the way these two came out. I know they are making this, I'm pretty sure this is the one that they're making into the pocket deck. I'm pretty sure, but I don't think I'm going to pick up that pocket edition because I don't use this one enough. It just gets pulled out every once in a while. Oh, and another thing that I added in as an additional layer for this was I threw charms over top of these, and they would play a role in the week also. And like I said, I really did enjoy the way these decks spoke to one another. I love using Alice decks. I love the energy of Alice in Wonderland, so it was really fun pulling these decks out to use. And just the last thing I'm going to mention real quickly, because I don't have too much to say about it yet. A book I started reading at the very end of May is this one, The Little Work by Durgoddess. I don't know how to say that. Alan Duriel is who wrote this book. This is a Llewellyn. That's where I found this. And it's basically about finding ways to work with magic in the mundane. It says on the back, make your day-to-day life as fulfilling and rewarding as your magical practice by turning everything you do into an extension of that practice. Nothing is truly mundane in this world, but if you can't pay bills on time or weather difficult relationships, how can you achieve spiritual transformation? Packed with practical tools that help improve your willpower and focused intention, the little work teaches you how to build and sustain the magical life you desire. So I don't know, I'm feeling this out. I'm only approximately 24 pages in. So yeah, I'm going to see how it goes from here and what I can take away from it. I'm a big believer in everything may not resonate with you fully in the book, but lots of times there's bits and pieces that I can take away from it. So that's kind of why I'm keeping that little notebook of just writing down the things that are really resonating with me in some way. If anybody's read this, what are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it? And I don't know. I don't like books. I don't know. I don't like books that try to tell me how to be. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see how this, like I said, resonates. And when I get further into it, if I'm still connecting with some things or not. So I don't know how long I've rambled, probably way too long for having hardly anything to show you guys this month. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know how your month of May went. Please share with me in the comments below because I would really love to hear that. If you like the video, don't forget to like. I do appreciate that, and subscribe if you want to see more of my ramblings here on my channel. And until I see you next time, bye.